All right, good morning, everyone. Friends, in the parasha, we meet one of the worst enemies of Am Yisrael. They've been a thorn in our sides for thousands of years. And we are told by our holy and great rabbis, and the Torah itself tells us, that this enemy is going to be fighting us and warring against us until Biat HaMashiach. Until Mashiach comes, we're going to have to deal with this enemy. They are the worst, and we have to see why they're so bad and how we're able to defeat them. They are called Amalek. Amalek are the worst of the worst. They represent everything that is evil in this world. When you see a people who hate us and want to kill us for no good reason, they just want us dead. There's no financial gain. There's no territorial gain. They just want Jews dead. That is Midat Amalek. This nation who we met when we left Mitzrayim, we were on a great high, and this nation came to attack us for no good reason, when everything was going so well for us, after all the miracles, all the nisim that happened to us in Egypt and leaving Egypt and create Yam Suf, not enough. They want us dead, knowing full well that they're going to probably die in the interim. They are the ultimate suicide bombers, just dying in order to kill us. So we've met them a bunch of times, and we know that at the end of days, Mashiach's final job is to finally wipe out this nation. Now, where is this nation right now? And the answer is, we're not too sure. They've pretty much been divided up among other nations. They're not a collective like Paras, like Yishmael are in one location in the world. They've now, although they're also spread out, they're spread out. Whenever you see people who come out of the blue and just want to kill us and hate us with an absolute venom, that is, my friends, Amalek. In the Parsha, we know that they came to attack us. Interestingly, in the Parsha, they're called Canaani. Now, they were in Canaan. Actually, their domain is in the south of Israel. That's their natural habitat, in the deserts in the south of Israel. That's where they like to hang out, and that's where they wanted to hurt us. And they came, and if this doesn't sound familiar, I don't know what does. It says, V'yishma Canaani. While they're called Canaanites, which they weren't really, they were Amalek, residing in Canaan. They're not one of the 7 Canaanite nations. We'll get to it in a second. Melech Arad Yoshev Negev. They're in the Negev, that is the south of Israel. V'ilachem Yisrael, they came to attack us, because that's their raison d'etre. V'yesh b'menu shevi. They took prisoners. They kidnapped. In this case, they were able to kidnap one woman. That's Amalek. They're going to come and war us just to kidnap us and to remove our freedom. Many people say that we see elements of Amalek in the war we are fighting right now in Eretz Yisrael. I remember many years ago, there was a suicide bombing when I was a Bachor in Yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the buses or one of the restaurants that they were bombing back then. And it was a Friday night, and there was a Rav, Zecher Tzedek Livrach, Rabbi Bullman, who was a Rav in my yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael. His son is now my daughter's Rebbe in Eretz Yisrael right now, actually. And he stopped tefillot on Friday night. It must have happened on Friday. And he said, this is Amalek. When you see people who just kill and are willing to die for it, that is a midah. Not that the nation is Amalek, we don't know where they are, but that is a strain of Amalek inside that nation. That's who they are. They want to kill and maim and kidnap and bring us to our knees, physically and spiritually. I'll tell you something very interesting about the word, the name. What does the word Amalek actually mean? Something there, Amalek. Well, first of all, the gematria, the numerical value of Amalek is 240, which is the same as Safek, doubt. They are the masters at sowing doubt in our minds. What doubt are we talking about? the doubt of not believing in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When they come to attack us, we doubt ourselves. That's their stratagem. They come to make us doubt our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're like, is Hashem really with us? Can this nation really prevail over us? That doubt, that safek, that breaking of emunah is a midah of Amalek. Can we really overcome? Is Hashem with us? There's no greater sin. But really it's understandable because they design themselves. Their whole tachlit, their whole muhut, their whole essence is to raise doubts in us about the Kadosh Baruch Hu. They don't just want to physically kill us, they want to spiritually drown us as well. To not believe God. They're really the first atheists in the world who say there is no God. And we know that Haman was Amaleki, right? He was Agagi. Agag was the first, or one of the kings of Amalek. Haman came to say, there's no God, it's all poor, it's all a lottery, that's Purim. It's all chance. There is no God. Your God's not here to save you anymore. Everything's chance. Everything is mikreh, right? It's all mikreh, it's all chance. Actually, when it says they came to attack us the first time when we left Mitzrayim, it says karcha b'derech. They happened upon us along the way. It's not they happened upon us. They're all about mikra. Everything is chance. It's all random. It's all a lottery. It's all poor. That's Haman. Karcha b'derech. And the word karcha, which means happenstance, also comes from the lashon of kar. They cool us down. We have this heat and hitlavut, desire burning inside us to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every element of Amalek is to cool down that desire to attach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That means the way to fight Amalek is emunah. That's actually really the way to fight Amalek is emunah. Having faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now the word Amalek, by the way, has another connection. Listen to this amazing idea. The word Amalek comes from the Lashon language of Melika. What's Melika? So the Kohen, right, would grow his thumbnail out, make it very sharp, and he would slice the neck of the little bird, and he would squeeze out the blood. It's one of the korbanot in the Mishkan and Beit HaMikdash. They represent Melicha. They disconnect the head from the body, which is the head is the seat of the brain, and the body is the lev, the heart. They are devoid of emotion. They're all cerebral. They're very smart. Don't think they're a bunch of skinheads running around, like we see on the news now, smashing people without any thought, right? These idiots are running around, pro-Palestine, pro-this, right? Pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah. These people are idiots. They're just complete shmagegis. No, Amalek, maybe their leaders are Amalek, by the way, right? They just take the sheeple with them. Amalek are geniuses. They're very smart. The Nazis, pretty much is accepted with Zerah Amalek, right? Definitely the leadership. Everyone else just followed along with them. But the people who orchestrated the Shoah, the Holocaust, they were very, very smart, right? They had brain. But their brain it was Melika, it was disconnect from their heart. They're emotionally void. That's how you can strategically design a way to kill 6 million Jews and not feel any remorse, even afterwards, like I was just following orders. That's so Amalek. That is Amalek. We see that today. Again, most of the people walk through the streets who are pro-Hezbollah, pro-Hamas, and kill Jews, they're not really Amalek. They're idiots. That's all we're talking about. They just follow. But you'll see little individuals pop up around the world who are smart, who want to destroy us. That's Midat Amalek. That's all they are about. How do we destroy Am Yisrael and Klal Yisrael in the most clever? They're the people who are orchestrating the downfall of Am and Klal Yisrael. How do we fight them? What is the secret sauce to fighting Amaleki? So I'll tell you something amazing. The secret sauce actually is something you may not have realized, and this comes from Yohanan Eibeshitz. He says that the way Amalek were able to attack us the first time happened on the back of a certain sin. What was that sin? We broke Shabbat. We broke Shabbat. one of the first Shabbatot we were given, actually destroyed us. Why? Because right afterwards, Amalek came to attack us. So Rav Yohanan Eibeshit says they're connected. These two incidents of breaking Shabbat and Amalek coming to attack us, because Amalek are all about destroying our emunah. The greatest thing we have to build our emunah is Shabbat. Shabbat is me'en olam haba. It's part of the next world. And when we desire to build our emunah, the greatest thing that we have is Shabbat, right? Because Shabbat is all about Hashem created the world. So we are ma'aminim that Shabbat is all about Yetziat Mitzrayim, Zecher Mitzrayim. That's also emunah. Shabbat is all about connecting to our Kodesh Baruch Hu, Har Sinai. It's all about Shabbat, right? The first Matan Torah was given on Shabbat. So Shabbat, the future redemption, is going to come in the zchut of Shabbat. So Shabbat is the key to emunah. If you don't have Shabbat, it's virtually impossible to have emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You don't have a vestige of Shabbat in your life. Yeah, I believe in God, I believe. Anyone can just say, I believe. But Shabbat is the edut, the testimony. It's actually called edut. Kiddush, Friday night is called edut testimony. It comes through Shabbat. So emunah and Shabbat are connected. That first time we broke Shabbat, there was a lack of emunah. Once emunah fails, here they come. Amalek comes to attack us. There's no coincidence that some of the worst atrocities that have happened to our people, even the most recent one, happened on Shabbat. Lo aleinu. Once you break Shabbat down, the fences, the Geder, protective walls, thank you. The Haganah of Eretz Yisrael is the army on a physical side, but we're only going to give power to our armies through Shabbat. If I had my way, and I had the reach that I wish I had, I would say what the best thing we could do right now to protect our soldiers, to bring our hostages back, is Shabbat. Whether it's learning Hilchot Shabbat, improving a Hilchot Shabbat, getting as many people as possible. I know putting on tefillin is important, and tefillah, all these things are important, but actually the most direct route, the easy pass to protect us is Shabbat. It happens to be, there has been since October 7th, a resurgence in Shmirat Shabbat in Eretz Yisrael. Here in America and elsewhere, it's been lacking. I've not heard anecdotally that we've seen this. But if you want to really protect our people against Amalek, and Amalek we know are here today wanting to hurt us, the best thing we can do is to improve our connection to Shabbat. And everyone's going to find their own connection. Whether it's some people lighting Friday candles to Makabel Shabbat, Havdalah, coming to Bet Knesset a little bit early, learning a little bit more on Shabbat, whatever it is, right? Being careful. Again, it's impossible to keep Shabbat without learning Hilchot Shabbat. That's why I make a big deal every morning of teaching Hilchot Shabbat over here, because you can see how to keep Sukkah, you sit in it, you've done your job. You can see how to, keep Pesach, you eat the matzah, you follow those people, you've done it. But Shabbat, many of the laws are based in one's mind. It's virtually impossible to actually keep the laws of Shabbat without learning the halachot of Shabbat. This is the secret source to defeating Amalek, who have brazenly raised their heads today against our people. Even Esav was aware, the father, the great-grandfather of Amalek, even he was aware of the power of Shabbat. Even he was aware that the Yeshua, the redemption, is going to come to our people. The Gemara even says that if you keep Shabbat, Mashiach will come. It's interestingly. The Gemara says one Shabbat, one opinion says two Shabbatot, difference of opinions. Why one Shabbat? Some say one Shabbat actually is the first Shabbat of Har Sinai, and then the next Shabbat is. But some say because the first Shabbat just comes, but the next Shabbat it shows you really into it. So it's a machloket. The Gemara says one Shabbat, the Midrash says two Shabbatot, whatever it is. If we keep Shabbat, Mashiach will come. Why? What's the Ma Keshesh Benayim? Why are they connected? And the answer is because the power of Shabbat has the ability to speed up the redemption of the Jewish people. We are stuck in Galut. Galut, exile, is not Shabbat. Geula, redemption, is Shabbat. That's why Shabbat is called Me'ayin Olam Haba, a part of the next world. When you keep Shabbat, you're actually not here in Olam Hazeh, you're actually in Olam Haba. If someone says to you, what's the idea of heaven in Judaism? Right? The answer is Shabbat. Shabbat is actually how we define heaven. If a non-Jew, even a Jew says to you, what's the Jewish view of heaven? You should say Shabbat. That is a vision of the next world and this world. There's no business on Shabbat. There's no business on Olam Haba. There's no jealousy on Shabbat. There's no jealousy in Olam Haba. All the things that represent Olam Haba can be seen in this world when it comes to Shabbat. So the way we are Maher HaGeula, we speed up the redemption, is by defeating those things that are not Shabbat, that are not Emunah. And what's that? Amalek. Amalek. If you want to increase Emunah in yourself, in your family, in your friends, in your community, you have to strengthen Shabbat. Shabbat is the kryptonite of Amalek, of disconnecting the head and the heart. It pulls them together. It's Malika. Malika is the separation of the head and the body. Shabbat is the attachment of the moach, the brain, and the guf, and the body, which is why, by the way, Esav's head was good. That's why his head rolled in to Marta Machpelah, but his goofed. His body was outside. Right? His body was not allowed to go inside, but his head, he knew the emet. He knew the truth that the Gula was going to come to Am Yisrael and to Klal Yisrael. Friends, the final word of the day, which we see, is if we keep Shabbat, we keep ourselves safe from physical enemies and, more importantly sometimes, the spiritual enemies that want to destroy us as well. That is the way to get the Geulah B'ezrat Hashem. We will defeat Amalek and we'll see Mashiach come and finally wipe them out and bring the Geulah B'meirei B'Amenu. Amen. Have a good and successful day. Azaka Baruch.